It might have some beats from the first one, but this is still a darn great sequel to Back to the Future. Let's get into it. Back to the Future Part 2, released in 1989, sci-fi adventure comedy film. Once again, directed by Robert Zemeckis, written by Bob Gale this time. He's the solo writer. And once again, produced by Steven Spielberg, based on characters created by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. So, once again, stars Michael J. Fox, Thomas F. Wilson, Leah Thompson, Christopher Lloyd, and archival footage from Crispin Glover, which I'll talk about. This came out in 1989, the same year as Batman, 1989, The Last Crusade, License to Kill, and any other movie that came out in 1989. The second film in this awesome trilogy, and this was produced on a $40 million budget back to back with its sequel, which we'll get to. Now, in this sequel, yes, the time-traveling duo, Marty McFly and Dr. Emmett Brown, they return from saving Marty's future son from disaster, but only to discover that their own time has transformed. And this version of the future is basically, they travel to 2015 to prevent his future son from ending up in prison. But this allows Bill Tannen to steal Doc Brown's DeLorean time machine and travels to 1955, where he alters history by making himself wealthy. And when they go back in time, you have the Jaws 3D thing, you have hoverboards, basically all this stuff when you go back to 2015. But in this nightmarish version of Hill Valley, Marty's father has been killed, and Biff, his nemesis, is, like I said, he's wealthy. And after uncovering the secret to Biff's success, a sports almanac from the future, Marty and the Doc embark on a quest to repair the space-time continuum and fix everything back to the way it was. Like I said in the intro, it does have some beats from the first one, but it's still a great sequel to one of the best films ever created. And this just is not only just as good, but I actually like this more than the first one. This is my favorite of the trilogy. Usually the first film or a third film or how many films in the franchise can easily be my favorite, but in this case, this is the best for me. I like the story here, and I like the concept of this whole future being different. Now, originally a sequel was not planned to the original Back to the Future, but because the first one did well, they decided to do a second film. And the director came back, and Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd, and his screenwriting partner and producer came back, and both of the writers, Zemeckis and Gale, they will later regret that they ended the first one with Jennifer in the car, because it required them to come up with a story that fit her in rather than a whole new adventure. And Zemeckis was busy doing Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and Gale, he wrote most of the first draft by himself. And while all the original cast agreed to return, but 2 of them didn't. So what happened was with George McFly, Crispin Glover's, he wanted more money, and the role was rewritten so that George is dead when the action takes place in the alternate version of 1985. And he later sued the filmmakers for that. But you can't get mad because you didn't get because you wanted a higher salary. You have to work for that. And so I don't even know why he did all that, but he did sue them. Claudia Wells is also replaced by Elisabeth Shue in both films, so they had to reshoot the closing scenes of the first film for the beginning of the first one. And Elisabeth Shue is not nearly as good as Claudia Wells, but she does a good job. And I like the depiction of the future. It wasn't meant to be accurate, but I do like how they did that. You have flying cars, you have Jaws thing, you have hoverboards, multiple widescreen flat panel TV sets mounted on walls with multiple channels, video chat systems, hand-free video games, yada yada yada. And the popularity of 3D films is also predicted. So all that stuff is future is as predicted in this movie, and some of it actually happens. The writing is still pretty great for the most part from everyone. I do still like the writing. I still like the creativeness behind the film, and they shot both of these movies back to back, and they did great. And this isn't the first time two films have been shot back to back. It's been done after this too. All 3 Lord of the Rings movies, all 3 Hobbit movies, The Matrix 2 and 3. Yeah. The actors are still great. You still have Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd's awesome chemistry. You got Thomas Wilson playing Biff and Griff Tannen. You got Leah Thompson coming back. You got Elisabeth Shue taking over for Claudia Wells. You got Jeffrey Weissman replacing Crispin Glover. James Tolkan as Mr. Strickland. And you got Flea as Douglas J. Needles. The acting is great. The futuristic setting and the production design is great. It took 2 years to do the production design stuff. The cinematography and the effects are still great, and the editing is still great. Then you have the cliffhanger ending, and I like the cliffhanger ending. And then they had to use footage from Back to the Future Part 3 to allow a trailer to be made. And it was added at the end of Part 2 before the closing credits, which that was also been done after it too, where they, in the Matrix Revolutions, they added a trailer for Matrix Revolutions after the end credits. The music is still great, soundtrack is still great, the production design, cinematography, and the action and the set pieces are still great. And this is also part of Empire Magazine's 500 Greatest Movies of All Time that they did back in 2008. So, this film, once again, is my favorite in the series. It's just as great as the first one, and I'm going to give it my JD Rainbow Silver approval. It doesn't get a golden, silver, or bronze because the only downfall, which doesn't hurt the grade, is that I wish Crispin Glover actually came back. But he wanted more money, so what can you do? So let me know what you guys think about Back to the Future Part 2 down below. And I will see you guys in the third and final film in the trilogy. And you guys keep it cool.